Hello again, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the filter options for your Oldsmobile 307 if you have one. And so we're going to get started here with this ACDelco on the very end. It's a PF61, and you may or may not be able to find these for a while. I'm not sure if they still make these. I mean, I know Autoports still stocks them, but they're actually going to be superseded by these, I think. But I'll get into that one in a moment. So this is basically just your stock classic filter. It's nothing special. ACDelco is a good brand. As far as I'm concerned, I've never had issues with them. Some people have. But it's got an anti-drain back valve. You can see it in there. I've heard some people say these 61s don't, but I'm holding one in my hand right here, and this one does. It's got the steel core on the inside, and it's a good filter. You can't really go wrong with these. They're a good stock filter. And so moving on, this is the new design. Now, as you can see, how this is flat as opposed to the other one, it was dished in. This is a PF61E. Now, a thing about with that E on the end, what that stands for, or at least what it translates into, as far as I can tell, is I'm trying to get a good shot in there. Okay, see, you might be able to see some of that in there. Yeah, there you go. See that? It's like a grid in there. There's no steel core. It's like a plastic grid almost. And that's basically more or less what they've come to with these, is that plastic core in there. This one also has an anti-drain back valve, you can see in there. And this is what they call the upgraded version of the 61. Some people, I've heard claims of them, the filter collapsing because of that grid. This one was actually on this car recently. I didn't have an issue with it. But the one key thing that I kind of doesn't seem anybody's catching is with that grid, you have more open area for the filter, for the oil to flow through. And, you know, whether that's a good thing for flow or maybe it's a bad thing that if something passes through your media and it can't be caught by that steel core in there, I don't know. But I don't know. I've never had an issue with this filter. It's all right. Like I said, from what I understand, this should be replacing this. You'll find these like the E-core filters, like the PF48s, the 47s, the 46s. I don't know, I didn't see if this one was at Walmart, but you'll find those at Walmart. Is the most common place to find an E-core ACDelco filter. But yeah, there's like 5 or 6 of their popular filters that they offer currently in the E-core and the Classic. So anyways, moving on, we have this this is a NAPA Gold 1045. These are basically wicks. Right there you can see it says Afina Wicks Corporation right there. These translate, this is basically a Wicks with a NAPA sticker on it, is all this is, for a much cheaper cost. And these are good. These are good. I've never had an issue with these either. You got the steel core on that one as well. You got an I believe these use like a weird combination pressure relief anti-drain back valve. It's in there. It's just you can't really see it too well. But these are also a very good stock filter. I recommend these. But the Wicks number, I believe, is a 51045. I'll put the cross references for these NAPA filters in the description to like a Wicks or like maybe like an ACDelco or something like that. I can put those cross references in there for you. But anyways, that's a good one too. Now we're moving on to the higher capacity filters. Now take note that these filters are not designed for these cars, but they do work. So we have the 1049 and the 1258 here. Now these also, being NAPA Golds, these are also basically wicks. And I don't have a 1049 in the box, it's on this car right now, but I'll go over these two and compare them. They're almost identical except for a couple little things. So that's about the basics of this these larger capacity ones. I'm going to move it over here to the 1045 to compare. You get a little extra with it, a little extra filter media, and the height's a little bit different. The 1258's a little bit shorter, but it's wider. Now, as you can see, it's got a classic, looks like a silicone anti-drain back valve. Now, the key difference between these higher capacities and these over here is the gasket width is just a hair larger on these. The outside diameter is just a hair, but it's so close it doesn't matter. It doesn't leak. So, but anyways, this filter right here was used on my 68 GMC with a 305 V6 also uses this filter. I believe the Oldsmobile 455s, and I'm not going to say all because I'm not sure, but most of the Oldsmobile engines used these in the 60s and 70s, and then they went to a smaller filter for the late 70s, early 80s, I believe. But a lot of different manufacturers use. I think International Harvester used this for some of their gas engines. Buick, Pontiac, I think Jeep used these. You know, a whole lot of manufacturers used this filter back then. But it's like I said, it's just basically the difference between these is a little bit difference on the gasket width, the width of the can itself, and that's about it really. Get a little extra filter media. So anyways, moving on, we have this 1049 over here. Now this is basically this, but about that much taller. You get an extra row of see the holes down in there. You get an extra row of those holes. This is the clean side of the filter, so you have an extra row of holes for oil to flow through. Now basically, the other difference between the 1049 and the 1258 is the 1049 does not have an anti-drain back valve. So, I mean, if you want to use the 1049, or if you prefer to stick with an anti-drain back, that's fine. I've never had an issue not using an anti-drain back valve filter on this car, because I mean, the filter's vertical. And, I mean, the filter's going to stay full of oil. The way that it's mounted on this car, it'll stay full of oil. So, I mean, there's not really a need to, but, I mean, if this is the only one available, I would use this in a heartbeat. It's not going to hurt if you use one. It's not going to hurt if you don't use one either. So, but basically, yeah, those are the two that I just know of that my NAPA carried at that time. There's if you go on the Wix website, there's a whole bunch of different filters with this size gasket. Not a whole lot with this size gasket. Pretty much what you see here, this 1045. I think there's maybe one other one that Wix makes that has this size gasket, so you got to move up to a little bit larger. But like I said, the difference is so minute it doesn't matter. But I mean, there's a whole bunch. I mean, you can go on their website, look around, check them out. But these are the two that I stick with right here, just because my NAPA always has them on stock. And I'm going to show you just how this 1049 that's on my car fits, if you're curious about the fitment. I'm going to go right under it here. Okay, there's the 1049. Now, as you can see, it hangs just a little bit lower than the stock filter. And I'm trying to get it a shot. Takes up a little bit more room, but on these 307s, you got plenty of room for the oil filter here, so it's not an issue. So there's the 1049 there. And that's pretty much all I wanted to go over today, is just the filter options you have for your car. But anyways, if you got any questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section. I'll be sure to answer them, or answer them the best I can. Like I said, I'm also going to get a few cross-reference numbers down in that description of this video. So you know, if you want to try one of these but you don't have a NAPA around or anything, I'll put a little bit of cross-reference filters down in that description. But anyways, thanks for watching, and hopefully this helped.